Listen, Claude can make or break your business. And I know that sounds a little dramatic, but hear me out. Claude is one of the most impressive AI tools available right now. I think we all agree on that. It's very good at reasoning, it's very good at writing, it's very good at coding, it's very good at analyzing long documents. And for certain business workflows, Claude can be extremely powerful. But here's the part many people miss. Just because Claude is smart does not mean you should use the strongest Claude model for every single task. And this is where Claude can either help your business move faster or quietly become an expensive problem. Because AI is not free. Every single prompt has a cost. Every single token has a cost. Every document you upload to Claude has a cost. Every time an AI agent loops through a task or does something, there's a cost attached to that. And if the system is not properly designed, Claude can get expensive very quickly. Not because Claude is bad, Claude is not a problem. The problem is using a powerful model for tasks that do not require the level of intelligence. So let me explain. Claude is not just one type of model, right? There are different Claude models for different situations. Some are built for more complex reasoning, some are more balanced, some are faster and more cost efficient. So the real question is not just should we use Claude? The better question is which Claude model should we use for which task and why? That's a very different conversation. Because if you use the most powerful model for everything, you may get good results, but you may also waste a lot of money, and that doesn't compensate. What's the point of you gaining productivity, but then increase your expenses, right? For example, let's say a customer fills out a simple contact form. Let's say just name, email, phone number, service needed. Do you really need a very powerful reasoning model to process that? Probably not. I mean, you may not even need AI. You may just need simple automation. The form comes in, and then you create a record in CRM. And then a notification is sent, a follow-up email goes out. It's not a complex AI problem. That's a workflow problem, right? Now, let's say a customer sends a long email explaining their problem. It's a long email with different wording, and they complain. Let's say they complain about different things in their email, right? That's a different situation because it's not like a structured input. It's a free form text, an email that can come in any form, and it's a long email. In that case, you need a stronger AI, a smarter AI that can analyze and understand the context of the email, right? It needs to be able to extract the intent, classify the opportunity, and also you may need to recommend the next step. And yeah, this is the kind of task that may require a stronger model. So Claude can be very useful here. But again, the point is not to use Claude everywhere. The point is to use Claude where Claude actually adds value. And this is where many businesses get it wrong. They hear Claude is smart, and there's a trend, Claude, and immediately they want to put Claude into everything. Claude for every email, Claude for every support ticket, for every form, for every internal note. But this is not good architecture. This is just consumption. And consumption is not the same as value. A business owner does not care how much AI you used. A business owner cares whether the work got done faster, better, cheaper, or more consistently. That's the difference, right? This is why I say Claude can make or break your business. If you use it properly, it can help your team move faster. It can help with research. It can help summarize information. It can help analyze documents. It can help write better emails. It can support customer service. It can support developers. It can help with planning, operations, and decision making. But if you use it without guardrails, without cost controls, and without thinking through the workflow, it can also increase your bill and add unnecessary complexity and make your system harder to manage. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you build an AI support system, for example. Every time a customer sends a message, the system sends the entire conversation history to Claude. And if the customer only asks something simple like, "What time are you open?" Now, imagine that happening hundreds or thousands of times. You are paying for unnecessary context. It's a simple question. You are paying for unnecessary reasoning. You are paying for intelligence that was not needed. A better architecture would say, first, classify the request, the email. Is this a simple email? Is this complex? Is this risky? Does this require reasoning? Does it require a human? If it's a simple question, then you use a cheaper model, not necessarily Claude. Right? If it's a more complex email, use a stronger model. If it's a high risk situation, then you can send for human review, for example, if it requires human intervention. That's a good architecture. And this is where the AI architecture part becomes really important, because most businesses should not start by asking, which model is the smartest. They should start by asking, what is the workflow? What is the task? What's the problem we're trying to solve? What decision needs to be made? What level of intelligence is required? What is the risk of if AI gets it wrong? What is the acceptable cost? What outcome are we trying to improve? Because if you do not answer these questions first, you're just guessing. And guessing with AI can get expensive, mainly more expensive model like Claude. This is also where model selection matters, right? A good AI architecture does not send every task to the most powerful model. Simple tasks can go one way and complex tasks go another way. And high risk tasks or tasks where AI has low confidence can go to a human for review. And all the usage needs to be monitored. Cost needs to get tracked, right? You need the observability. You need to see what's going on and not use AI as a black box. You need to see how your agents are working, okay? How many calls to Claude was made, more or less an idea of the cost of each of the calls, so you can probably identify where the usage there's a spike or something. If there's a spike, you can go back in the audit log and can see like, okay, this was a person that spent a lot with Claude. Why did they upload a bunch of unnecessary documents? What happened? So if you have the log, the observability, you'll be able to go back and see what happened, right? So when you receive the bill, you know why you're paying that amount. So if you're implementing Claude inside your business, you need to think about things like who can use it, what can they use it for, which model should be used for which task, what are the spending limits, what happens if usage spikes, what happens if the AI is not confident, what happens if the output needs approval, how do we know if the system is actually helping? These are not small details. These are things that determine whether your AI implementation succeeds or becomes another expensive experiment. And let me be clear about one thing. I'm not saying business should avoid Claude. I love Claude, and I use Claude. Claude is excellent for many use cases, but using Claude well requires more than just connecting an API or giving access to everyone. You need structure, you need workflow design, you need model selection, you need cost control, you need observability. You need a clear definition of success. What does success look like for my AI implementation? Otherwise, you may look at the end of the month and see the invoice and you're like, why is the bill so high? I don't see why you're spending so much money with AI and we're not getting that, what I thought we would get in return. Sometimes the problem is not Claude, the problem is not Anthropic, the problem is that the architecture. You didn't design the system well. And now sometimes you don't even have a way to go back and see why that amount was spent because you don't have the observability layer that I always recommend in any project. You got to have observability, see what's going on behind the scene, right? See why the cost is high, what's causing the cost to increase, etc., etc. So my advice is very simple. Do not start with how to use Claude everywhere. Start with where can Claude create measurable value. You need to be able to measure the value that Claude or any other AI model will bring to you, to your company. Can it reduce manual work? Can it improve response time? Can it help classify mass information? Can it summarize long documents? Can it help employees make better decisions? Can it improve their workflow? If the answer is yes, then Claude may be a great fit. But if the task is simple, predictable, and rule-based, you may not need Claude. You may need just automation, pure automation. You may need a smaller model, right? You may need better process design. And sometimes you may just need to connect two systems properly, to integrate two systems. Maybe sometimes you don't even need AI, right? That's the difference between chasing AI and designing AI architecture. So yes, Claude can make your business better, but if you use it the wrong way, it can also make your business more expensive and more complicated. The model is powerful, but architecture is what determines whether the power creates value for your company. So my recommendation is to not use Claude just because it's smart. Use Claude where intelligence is actually required. Use smaller or cheaper options where that makes sense. We use automation where AI is not needed, and use human review where the risk is too high, is the AI confidence is too low. That's how you build practical AI systems. No hype, not random usage, not the most expensive model for every task, just the right tool for the right job inside the right workflow. And that's what we call architecture. You need that. You want a successful AI implementation, you need architecture. Usually when we start a project, we always come up with this document. Is an architecture document that outlines how things are going to be implemented, which tools we're going to use, and how we're going to be able to log the usage, how we're going to control usage, what guardrails we're going to have in place, because that's going to guarantee the success of your implementation. Don't jump right into the implementation, because then you're going to come across a lot of headaches down the road, and it can be really expensive. And if you want to know how expensive it can be, watch this video about a $500 million in a single month in AI. $500 million, not 500,000, but $500 million a company spent in a single month in AI usage, so you can have an idea. right? So that's a wrap for today, and I hope you got a lot of value and insights from this video, from this conversation. This is what we do. We talk about architecture and how to use AI, practical ways of using AI, no hype, just practical conversations about how AI fits inside a real business. And if this was helpful, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.